Hello, and welcome back to the History Unplugged podcast. I am your host, Carter Dion. With me today is Tox Toxie from the ancient civilization of Riamuda. There might be a slight delay because she is being transmitted from way back in the past. Hello, Tox Toxie. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here to discuss re-emotions.
Of course, but before we start, let me thank you for donning that blanket for us. I know in Riamuda you don't wear clothing, is that correct?
Yes, Carter, that's right. Since we are in such a hot environment and have limited resources, we see no need to cover ourselves.
Let's jump right in about that environment. Why is it so hot? What's it like?
It's hot because it is in the desert of what you call Arizona. We live in the middle of vast, flat, dry plains with jagged mountains far in the distance. We have a few trees, some which provide edible pods that we Umwapis collect for our people to eat. We also utilize these in our homes for firewood, building, or in carving. These are many kinds of shrubs and wildflowers, and of course many cacti. We have learned to harvest many of these for their delicious fruit and pods.
So you mostly eat plants? What about water? Where do you find water in the desert?
Oh, water is easy for us to get in our caves.
Your what?
Caves. We live in underground caves which keep us quite cool and give us access to underground wells and streams. There are vast networks of caves that protect and provide for our civilization. Except for us Umwapis, everyone stays and lives underground.
Umwapis. That's the second time you've mentioned that word. What does it mean?
Umwapis are people like me who are able to visit the sun. Most of Ramushan society are unable to do so. They are what you call no pigment?
Like albino?
Yes, exactly. They do not fare well during sun time. They only venture up ground during star time.
We'll come back to that, but let's get back to what you were saying. You are vegetarians?
No. Although we do raise some crops and collect from the desert plants, we also raise goats and rabbits, and we of course have access to snakes and bats and other cave offerings.
How do you have crops and goats underground?
The goats are kept in the sun pits, not in the caves. They are hidden from any possible passers-by and predators, and we Umwapis are the herders.
What kind of predators are there?
Coyotes and mountain lions. The crops are in similar areas away from the animals. We have developed irrigation trenches that move the water from deep inside the caves to the animals and the fields.
That's very impressive.
Well, we work together to solve problems.
When did your people start living in the caves? How were they discovered? The caves, I mean.
The stories told are that we have been here for at least 10,000 years. The topmost caves were originally discovered by hunters and gatherers and used as resting points, oases in the desert. Eventually, the vastness of the caves proved to be more than just a stopping point, and we haven't left since. Travelers still count on us to help them with their water during their journeys. We trade it for supplies such as seeds to plant, or for Umwapis.
You trade people? Why?
We Umwapis are anomalies in the caves, yet we are the only able topsiders. We are important to the survival of all Ramushans. If there are not enough of us, who would care for the crops and the goats? The others cannot venture out except at star time.
So the travelers leave people behind?
They sometimes leave young children whom we raise lovingly as our own. Some travelers choose to stay in the caves. If neither is possible, the men may lay with our women.
Oh, well, that's one way.
Yes, to tip the scales toward the birth of new Umwapis.
Well, let's move on. What's the religion of the Ramushans?
It is called Rikti. The closest translation to your language is seize the day. We make the most of every moment of every day because living time is short.
Well, how do you think life began?
We believe that the first people fell from the stars in a fiery explosion.
And
that is it. We remember and tell stories of those who have died.
Okay. What about culture, art, architecture?
Our architecture is largely derived from the cave shapes created so many years ago. But we do expand them, and we have added sun holes that bring in natural light. Of course, most Ramusians must be wary about having this touch their skin directly. We value community. We work together for the best of everyone. We sing happy songs and think happy thoughts. Our people paint and carve. We are especially fond of star-time art. That is when everyone can visit Topside, not just we Umwapis.
So tell us about this example you brought for us here.
Oh, it is one of our most famous pieces. To us, it is the first recorded depiction of star time. As you see, we use goat hides, and sometimes those of other animals as our canvas.
Yes, it's very nice, very nice. Could you please tell us a little bit about your political and economic structures?
Well, they are practically one and the same. We live communally. We have no actual political structure except for the acting group of answerers. These individuals evaluate how we are doing and recommend changes they think necessary. Of course, we all must vote on those changes. The group of answerers rotates every season, just as do all our tasks. We each rotate through all positions, such as answerers, food preparers, cleaners, entertainers, child instructors, even nursing the infants. These are, of course, very few. There are many more. But my point is that we all work all necessary tasks.
Well, how are you guys paid? What do you use as money?
Again, we act communally. We have no need for money or payment for tasks because everything we need is available to us. We share everything.
But what about the rule breakers?
There is rarely a Ramusian who defies rules. When that does occur, the person will be taken to the answerers. If it is decided that the person is no longer able or willing to perform communally, actions will be taken.
Actions?
If the person is your albino, he or she will be banished to the upper lands. If the person is like me, an Umwapi, he or she will be traded to travelers and forced to work as a slave for them. Neither is acceptable, and both more than likely lead to death.
So, you believe in the death penalty?
The what?
Never mind. You mentioned earlier that you sing and make art?
Yes, entertainment and art creation are some of our rotations.
What other social events are there? What language do you speak? Do you have a writing system?
We dance, play games, love, laugh. We simply enjoy performing our tasks and enjoy contributing to the society. I guess you would say we are positive, happy people. Our language is Rama Ra'a'a. It's been our tongue forever, with the exception of words we've incorporated from travelers throughout the years.
Well, how do you keep from being conquered by travelers? Have there been any wars?
Oh, no. We are a peaceful people. Our civilization has not been breached because travelers have no way of surviving our cave system. They would simply get lost and perish.
And your alphabet?
It is called Hama. There are 999 characters, and it's read from left to right, bottom to top. We only had spoken words for many years, but then a famous scribe named Waldi created our alphabet and taught our people.
What's that sound, Toxie?
I don't know. Shall I go investigate?
Yeah, it's okay. I see our time's about up anyway. Thank you so much again, Toxie, for enlightening us. And we'll see you next time on History Unplugged.